Record. Okay. What we will do is, right, we will take our iris flower prediction model and then we will deploy it using Flask and containerize it with Docker and manage multiple containers using Docker Compose as part of the today's session. Okay, first of all, what is a Docker Compose? Docker Compose is a tool. Yes, it's a open source. It's a tool used to define and run multiple containers on a single host, on a single host using a single YAML file. Docker Compose uses .yml file, that YAML file. Okay, and why should I use Docker Compose? Okay, and again, right, for easier networking, you can use Docker Compose, right? With the Docker Compose up and with Docker Compose down, right? You can start all the containers in one go. And with this, you can stop all the containers in one go. Okay, these are the two commands you can remember. Why Docker Compose? It manages multiple containers. Instead of running multiple Docker run commands, we can define everything in a single YAML file using Docker Compose. I just show you the YAML file content here. This is what the YAML file content, the Docker Compose YAML file. And here you can see services. Okay, and here you can see 1, 2, 3. So Iris API 1, API 2, API, the three containers are there. I have defined three containers. Yes. Yes. What's your name? Yes, asked one question. Yeah, Priya, correct. So she asked, okay. Okay. So using Docker Compose also, can we build the images? Yes, we can do that. That we will see it, in the short while. First, let us understand, what this this YAML file is all about. Okay. In this case, under services, right? We have, I have defined three services, right? So Iris API 1, API 2, and API 3. Three services I defined it, each running the same Flask application. So I have created the uh, Docker image, okay? The same, for the same Flask API, we are we have created three services. You just remember the PowerPoint which I showed you a while back, right? So here, look here, three containers, three APIs we are containing. We are creating three different services. Each service, right? Each service builds from the current directory. Just give me a second. Somebody's calling. Three services, we define it here. Each service builds from the current directory. If you see followed by the build, dot is there, right? It builds the image, right? Built from the current directory. Docker file should be present. So in this YAML file, wherever you keep it, make sure that the Docker file should also be there in this current folder. Okay. And then, we have done the port mapping here. Okay, we have done the port mapping. We map different host ports. For example, this is your the Flask application's default port number. This is your EC to instance port number. Okay. The EC to instance, you map the Docker containers port number. Sorry, the Flask API's port number with the EC to instance port number 6000, 6001, 6002, because you are going to create three containers simultaneously. Each container should have different port numbers from your EC2 system, your server, your local server. So the 6000, 6001, 6002 are from you just think, it's in your laptop. Okay, in your laptop, you are going to specify three different port number because you are going to run three different services, three Dockers, okay, which is nothing but three Flask API you are going to run it. So the build dot also will, build that, the images, okay. And then next one is the container name. We are giving some meaningful name. So first container name is Iris container 1, container 2, container 3, like that, okay. Port mapping, we have done it, followed by the ports. and then followed by the container name. We mentioned about the container name meaningfully. Restart always. It is a policy, okay? This is set to always, so that what will happen is the containers will restart automatically in case, in case the container stops. Okay. This is, hope you understood, right? I explained you line by line. Version is not required. You can remove it. Okay. I think this is a deprecated one with the latest version of Docker Compose. Hence, we don't have to worry about that one. Okay. Next, what I'll do is I'll just go to my this one, the EC2 instance. This is what my EC2 instance, EC2 in the AWS, right? So look here, this is what your console dashboard, AWS, and I just clicked on the EC2, and then here you can see all the running instances. You can see all the running instances. So these are the instances that I created. This is the one I stopped it because I'm not using it any longer. Okay. Fine. Okay. And I selected this instance. When I hit the connect, it got connected here to my host. EC2 instance. Okay. And here already I kept all the files that are required here. One second, I just go here. The importantly, right, make sure that you are meeting all the prerequisites. So these are the steps that you need to do it to install the Docker Compose. Okay. And then the next one is this is my folder structure. Make sure that all these files are available in your Docker Compose folder. Okay, so here I have the root folder. In my case, the root folder is home EC2-user. This is where I kept all the Docker files, and also I built the Docker images in the for the previous sessions demo, right? And now what I do is I'm going to create a folder, as Docker Compose. I'm going to create a separate folder called Docker Compose, and I'm going to keep all the files there, including the YAML file. So what I did, right, to simplify the demo process, already I have created, Docker comp folder, and this is the one I gave a demo for other batch. Okay, here you can see all the files that I kept it here along with my model.pickle. You just think, this is my stock prediction model. I want to share this model to public. Okay, so what I do is, right, in this case it's not a share price predicting stock price predicting model. It is a iris flower prediction model. Okay, so that is the one I generated it already. I put it here. Okay, I saved it here. So app.py is my API. Okay, in this one I'm using the Flask, right? And then using the Flask, I'm using it. And also what I do is I load the model.pickle into this app.py, and also I have the endpoint is there, predict endpoint is there. Okay, and the templates I to have a good user interface, something like this. Look here. For this, index.html with all the CSS, we put it so that the interface will look pretty neat. Okay, and then the Docker file is there here. Okay, yes, to use the Docker Compose, obviously, right, you need to use the Docker file. Without Docker file you cannot do anything. And then the requirements.txt is all very much important. That's all. And then the importantly, compose.yaml should be there. Okay, I just show you the content of the docker compose.yaml file. So this is the same thing I showed it to you in the Notepad++. The same thing you can see it here. Okay, but the address, the version I removed it because that's a deprecated thing. It is not required. I just removed it. Okay, the same YAML file is available. What I will do is, for the sake of demo, I just copy cpapp.py to home hyphen ec2 hyphen user home / Docker Compose, the new folder which I created. I just copy to the new folder, okay, app.py. Or simple, right? I just do one thing. I just try copy store all the files from the current folder to this one. I will just do it. Let me see. Okay. Oh, okay. That is not going to, because I have templates folder is also there. Yeah, even for that, there is a command I forgot, minus or something like that. Okay, anyhow, we will do it one by one. It will not take much time. And then I'm going to copy the model.pickle also there. Requirements. Okay, here requirement I put it. There was a typo. Okay, fine. And then what else? Everything I copied. Okay, all the files. The requirements.txt, app.py, and on one thing is the templates. Okay, and here I just go to the templates folder, and then this is for cosmetic purpose. Okay, plates, templates, and then I just use the same command here. Okay, here index.html. Yeah, the templates folder I did not create it. I think so. In that new folder, templates. Anyhow, it will throw an error. Anyhow, no problem. At least I can use it. Okay, and here I just go to the previous one. Sorry, what happened? CD and CD docker compose mkdir templates. And then I go back here and then CD docker comp and then templates. Done. We are done. Now we will check, are there any containers are running, or are there any images are there? How do I check the images, the Docker images that are there in my system? Docker images. Okay, these are the Docker images. And then and Docker container, how can I see that? Docker ps minus c. Okay, if I use ps, what will happen? It will show any running container. Okay, yes, contain three containers are already running. Okay, so in this case, if you see the port number, right, so 6000, the EC to instance port number, which is nothing but my AWS server number is 6001. This is my Flask applications default port number. I mapped the Flask API, the same API, I mapped to three different ports for each container. So that's what we can see it here, right? Look here, 6000. This is my IP address, system IP address, followed by the colon, and then I mentioned about the port number. And similarly, if you type 6002, you can see that one more container is running here. So look here, and here we have three containers, and 6000, 6002, and 6000 also is there, right? So three different containers. I just duplicate it. The same thing we are going to do it now. Okay, 6000 and 6001, and then 6002. Three different containers are running, but for the same API. For the single API, three containers are running here. Okay. Fine. So next what we'll do is, right, I just go ahead and stop all these containers, and I'm going to remove these containers, and then we will start doing it everything from the scratch. Or the other option is, right, we can probably make a changes to your YAML file. I just go to the cd docker compose, the new folder which I created. Here I could see, these files are there, and I'm going to use a nano, and I'm going to use docker-compose.yml file. Here I just do one thing here, okay? I just simply go and specify the different name for each containers. 3 containers, it has to start, right? And what I do is I just make a 4 and 5 and 6. Already these 6,000, 6,001, 6,002, these ports are busy for Iris container 1, 2, and 3, right? So now what I need to do is I need to change the port number. Okay. I will do one thing is 6,003 and 4, 5. 4 and 5. Okay, now we are done. We made a changes. The container name also we changed it, and then the port number also we changed it. We're all set, right? Now I just so and then, right, the build followed by the build, you can see dot. So this one, what is this dot? This is very important. Like I told you in Docker build, right? You need to make sure that in this folder, the current folder, the Docker file also available. I just save it. We are done, and then I'm going to exit. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just check the Docker file is there. Docker file, look here, I copied it, very good. Cat Docker file. Let's see the content of the Docker file. Yes, we have the content of the Docker file. Okay, here, it's not, it's having some issues, the Docker file. It's not, everything is working fine with the Docker file, the syntax, everything is correct. But only thing is, it will create more layers unnecessarily. More the layers, your image size will become more. As part of best practice, make sure that you are going to have less number of layers. Okay, that doesn't mean you need to remove blindly the layers. For example, the copy and run pip install, there is a space here, right? You can combine these two things, or copy.app ampersand. If you put in a single command, these two, if you combine these two commands in a single line, your image size will be less because the number of layers are less. What is layers? For each line in your Docker file, for each line in your Docker file, it creates the layer. Okay, this is a layer 1, and then you stack up the second layer, and then stack up the third layer, and then the stack up the 4 layer, fifth layer, sixth layer. But if you combine these two things together, right, certain things you can combine it together. So in that case, the number of layers will get reduced. So that the number of layers which got stacked one on the other, right, will get reduced. That is one of the best practice you need to remember. Just because I need to I need to build a Docker image and container blindly, you cannot go ahead and create it. By end of the day, they review it everything. Okay, whether you have followed the best practice, everything. This is one of the best practice in the interview. You can tell. Okay, fine. Now we are done. I just go ahead and build the Docker Compose, right? The first time setup, right? First time we are setting up. What I will do is I'm going to use a docker-compose up -d and hyphen build. This is the command will go through your YAML file, okay? YAML file, and based on the configuration that you made it. In our case, we have created 3 services. All the 3 service related 3 containers will also get created. I just press enter. Let's see what happens. Yes, it's going on. Let's wait for some time. In case of error comes, there will be some space issue. Let's be positive. Okay, let's see what happens now. Basically, this command builds the images and starts the containers in the background. This is another difference, guys, between the Docker and Docker Compose. In the case of Docker, you need to build the image, and then you need to start the container. In the case of the Compose, it builds the image and starts the containers together in the background, right? Both these things are done in a single command itself, using a single command. This is the one ensures that, right, you are using the latest code and dependencies. In case you make any changes to your Docker file or so, or YAML file, you need to rebuild that. Okay, you need to use build command. Look here, you need to make sure that at the end build you need to use it. Once you have done the build part, next time onwards, right, you can use docker compose up minus t. What this command does is it will start the containers without rebuilding it. Okay, it will start the command. For example, if I type it here, so already it is running, right? It is already running this container. Now the container names are ends with 456. And I just how do you list the containers? Which command that you can use it? Docker. Here the PS, right? Running containers, PS. Now we can see three more containers got added. So previously we were having one, two, three. Now we have yeah. So we have 1 second Docker Compose Iris API 2 and three more. Yeah, about a minute ago. These three things got created now. Look here, the container name is available at the end. Okay. So the Iris container 56456. Okay. So here, one, two, three, previous thing. And now 456, three more containers got created. Three more containers got created simultaneously. Okay. Using the Docker Compose command. Okay. For example, if you want to make changes to your Docker file or YAML file, you need to do the same thing. You need to execute the same command. Which command? Build. The same command, followed by that, you need to add additional option like build. So that is the one will build everything from the scratch. Whenever you make a changes to your configuration file, this is must. You need to rebuild it. Otherwise, it will throw an error. It will not work. It will show the previous thing only. Okay. Okay, for example, if I want to stop everything, what can I do? I want to stop all the containers, running containers, right? I want to stop and remove the containers, networks, everything. How do I do? Docker compose down. Instead of up, you can type the down command. So anyhow, I'm not going to, try the down command now. So what I will do is I will go and check, these port numbers. Okay, what is the port number here in this case? We have used the 6004, right? 634, 6034. Previously, we used 6001, 602, and 602, right? 6000, 6002. Now we will see 6003. Whether, in this port, yes, it's working fine. It's up and running. Okay, so now you understood, right? Now we are able to serve the model with this port number, right? Port number 6004 is my Linux system. In this case, this is my EC2 server. Okay, EC2 server's port number is 6004. When I put 6004 or 6003, now it is exposing. My model got exposed. Most of them, even the hands-on people, they forget this simple thing. Okay, but guys, before you start do all the things, make sure that you are downloading and installing the Docker Compose. Okay, since I already downloaded, simply you need to copy paste this command, it will get installed. Okay, once it gets installed, you need to give the execute privilege, chmod plus x means execute privilege for your Docker Compose software, the binary. And then if you type docker compose hyphen hyphen version, you can see the version, and then you can create a symbolic link. So soft link or something. What is soft link and hard link? In Linux, you just go through on it. Okay, you just give some alias for this. Okay, instead of yeah, so docker compose user bin, user local bin, right? So what you do is user bin docker compose something like we create a soft link, symbolic link. That's all. Okay, very simple, right? Now we are able to create more than one container with a single docker compose.yml itself. And also we have used the docker compose app minus d with that, and then build with that we can build all the containers, build the images, and the corresponding containers also got created simultaneously in a single command. Okay, now the question is, okay, so in the real world scenario, do we really create more than one container given this scenario? You explained, right? So in my case, I explained you for a single API, we created three different, the containers. Each container runs the Flask API. Okay, is this a scenario that we are going to use it? See, in the case of the Kubernetes, it takes care of it automatically. Okay, so even though Docker Compose is helpful in terms of starting all the containers in one go or building the image in one go, unlike my Docker, it's fine, but still, right? You need to do it. You need to do it manually, right? Still, okay. So what kind of scenario, real time scenario, this multi-container setup is helpful. For example, you are using a web application and then your model API plus database. Okay, you want to do some kind of data pre-processing. You need to pull the data from the database and then you need to do the data pre-processing. For that, you have a separate container. For the model API, you need to have a separate container. For the web application, you can have the another container. Okay, these are the scenario that you can create more than one container. Okay, and importantly, distributed processing with message queue. How many of you worked on Kafka and RabbitMQ messaging queue? Real time prediction, right? In that kind of situation, the multi containers are really helpful. And then microservices with load balancer, those kind of situation, we can set up the multi container. Since the Docker Compose is, so with this you are able to understand what is Docker Compose, and I also explained you the difference between Docker Swarm. To overcome the limitations with the Docker Compose, or to overcome the limitations with Docker, we have used the Docker Compose. To overcome the limitation with Docker Compose, we have something else called Docker Swarm. Okay. Okay. What exactly the Docker Swarm is all about? So again, that is a container orchestration tool, right? That manages and scales your containers across multiple hosts. That is the key difference. Multiple systems. Like I said here, if any one of the container crashes in my laptop, remaining two containers are running. Okay, it can handle it, right? But if my laptop itself crashes, you are gone. Let's say if I have two laptops and when I set up the swarm, so one laptop is my master node, other laptop is my slave node. So in that case, what will happen? Or let's I have three laptops, two, one master and two slaves. If any one of the slave node goes, still other system is there. That system also have the replica of your other nodes container or running there. Okay, that is how we need to configure it. Okay. Yeah, the Swarm is designed for production deployments. The Compose is mainly used for local development and testing purpose. Only you'll be using it. The Compose does not provide built-in availability. Okay, whereas the Swarm supports load balancing and failover. And the other difference, Swarm enables rolling updates and scaling with your Docker service scale and all. Okay, and compared to this Docker Swarm and Docker Compose, Compose is simple to the user, but Swarm is more powerful. Docker Swarm is more powerful. But compared to all these, the Docker Compose and Docker Swarm, Kubernetes is more powerful because with that, all the utilities are possible. Availability and availability and scalability, right? So everything is possible with that. Okay, availability, scalability is possible with Kubernetes. Okay, that is the beauty of Kubernetes. We can enable auto scaling also. Okay, in follow day after tomorrow, we will have a demo on Kubernetes. Okay, so there I will show you what is auto scaling, all the things. Okay, what is load balancing and all the things we will take a look at it. And first we will explore the architecture of the Kubernetes. Okay, and then we'll followed by that we will